What is going on, YouTube? Back here with another Dollar Tree haul. Um, this was not all one stop. So this was over the course of, I want to say like the second week of January up until a couple days ago. So this is a compilation of about 6 or 7 different stores. But let's go ahead and just get into it. I've only got, I think, 5 Blu-rays and the rest are DVDs, but I'll start with the DVDs. First up, we got one called Corbin Nash. I guess it's some sort of a vampire, I don't know if it's like a vampire comedy, but looked interesting. We got one, I think this is an older one, but I just found it, Neon Demon. Looks pretty cool, and it has Keanu Reeves and Ellie Fanning. We got a IFC Midnight Scream Factory release, Ghost Stories. I've seen this one on, I think, Netflix. It's pretty good. It was Netflix or Hulu, I can't remember. We got this one called Strange Nature, which I don't know what it is, but I think I remember Googling it before I bought it, and it had some relatively decent reviews. It says, based on a true ecological mystery, hideously deformed frogs have turned up in the waters of Minnesota. Seen through the eyes of a single mother and her 11-year-old son, a small town struggles with the unknown when the deadly mutations move beyond the ponds. So that's pretty wild. And on the front it says, these waters are hiding a killer. Sold. We got one called The Possession Experiment with a disgusting chick that needs an exorcism. So that should be interesting. Next up, we got a Wild Wild West 4-pack. This all comes on one DVD. It includes Diablo, which I think I picked up previously, Wild Horses, which I picked up previously, but it didn't have A Night in Old Mexico or Ambush at Dark Canyon. Thought it looked pretty cool. Next up, we got another old one I've seen people pick up in the past, but I just came across it, called Burning Kiss. I watched this one, and it gives off kind of like David Lynchian vibes throughout the whole thing. And to be honest, when it first started, I was extremely confused. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. But as you keep going on, you kind of figure out what it's really about and like how it's filmed, basically, because it's like a what do they call it, a noir film. So yeah, it's interesting. If you like David Lynch, you might like it. Next up, we got one called Don't Think Twice, and it has Keegan-Michael Key, Jillian Jacobs, Mike Birbiglia, Kate Kuki, I'm probably saying all these names completely wrong, Chris Gethard, and Tammy Sager. But this actually had like extremely good reviews online, so I picked that up. Plus I really like Keegan-Michael Key. Okay, next up we got one called Storage 24, sci-fi thriller. It just looked good. Next up we got one called Trailer Park Shark, and I'm 100% sure that this was an older one from like, I want to say like September, October maybe. And I remember because I saw it back then and didn't pick it up, but I looked at it again and I was like, this looks kind of funny, and it's got Tara Reid in it, so why not? Got a Jean-Claude Van Damme action thriller, Kill 'Em All. Got the sequel to Kung Fu Panda, Kung Fu Panda 2, and comes with the digital code as well, and digital HD, not just digital standard. Got one called The Bronx Bull, based on a true story. Looks like of a boxer named Jake LaMotta. Always like those kind of based on true story films about like wrestlers and boxers and all that. Next up, we got one called Cold Skin. I did watch this one. It's pretty good. A point of reference to base it off of, if you've seen The Lighthouse, pretty similar. Like, it's based in a lighthouse. These two dudes are watching it. One dude's obviously insane, and then, you know, there's a twist though. There's some, it's a creature feature. Well, I'll just say that. Next up, we got one with Danielle Harris called Inoperable. I picked this up solely on the fact that she's in it because she's an awesome actress. But I've also heard, I think Cool Duder said on one of his recent videos that that's a pretty decent movie too, so I'm glad I picked it up. Next up, we got one I have seen a long time ago called Troll Hunter. From what I remember, it's just fucking a wild ride. Be nice to check that out again. Next up, we got a classic. I only picked this up because, I mean, come on, the Care Bears movie. I don't know how much this will hold up now, but as a kid, I loved Care Bears. Next up, we got one called Justice League Gotham City Breakout. I'm really curious to see this. I just watched a Lego movie recently for the first time, and I really liked it, so hoping that's a good one too. Next up, we got Tom and Jerry's Giant Adventure, which also includes it's one of those cases that stacks the discs on top of each other instead of like in their own separate little slots. It also comes with 4 Flying Adventures Volume 1 and Tom and Jerry Tales. So there's 3 discs in that one if you come across it. But again, stacking on top of each other, I hate that. I just feel like it's bad for the discs. Anyways, we got one called NWA and Eazy-E King of Compton non-authorized documentary. I love NWA. I loved that Straight Outta Compton flick that they came out with recently, so I figured, how am I gonna hate this, you know? Next up, we got a double feature, Batman Supervillains and Superman Supervillains. Batman's fighting Killer Croc, and Superman is fighting Bizarro. And if you're curious, they do come on separate discs. Next up, we got a Scooby-Doo one, Carnival Capers. It comes with, let's see, looks like it comes with about 8 or so episodes. 1 disc. Got another Tom and Jerry one, Once Upon a Tomcat. I'm really building up my Tom and Jerry collection just from these Dollar Trees. Just 1 disc. Looks like this may just be episodes, so it's not a movie, but that's cool. That's cool. Next up, we got one as a triple feature here. We got The Hitman Never Dies. It also includes Busted and the movie Play Dead. And honestly, the reason I picked this up was the bonus movie Play Dead, because I noticed it has Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit and Chris Klein from American Pie, and also Jake Busey. So I was like, what the So yeah, it comes like that. Slipcover, Hitman Never Dies on 1 disc, and then the 2 movies on the other one. So we'll check it out. Next up, we got one called Assassination. Looks like it's just a crazy action thriller. I think it's Korean language, Korean, yeah. So that looks interesting. I don't normally pick up a lot of the foreign films like this, but unless they're like horror, but it looked kind of cool, so I picked it up. Next up, we got one called Rampage, President Down. I looked this up, and I think this was the last of the series. I have not seen any of these Rampage films. But I don't know. It looked like a crazy... Yeah, it says it's the last chapter of the Rampage trilogy. So we'll check that out. And this is actually the last DVD that I picked up, and we'll go ahead and get into the Blu-rays. So first up we got Are You Here with Owen Wilson, Zach Galifianakis, and Amy Poehler. Picked it up solely on the fact that it has all three of those actors in it, an actress. But it looks pretty good. Next up we got one called We're the Millers. I mean, I love Jason Sudeikis, and Jennifer Aniston's awesome, so. It also has, what's her name? Emma Roberts? Is that her name? Yeah, Emma Roberts. Okay. Next up we got Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I've been looking for this one forever, and I've been seeing people pick it up for the past like 3 or 4 months. And I finally came across it. I was pretty stoked, so I picked that up. Next up we got looks like a cheesy Nicolas Cage movie, The Humanity Bureau. But based off the synopsis on the back, it does sound kind of interesting, honestly. It says, set in the near future where climate change has wreaked havoc in parts of the American Midwest, a government agency called the Humanity Bureau exiles members of society deemed unproductive and banishes them to a colony known as New Eden. Kind of wild. I don't know. And last but not least, this is the one I was referring to earlier with the Lego movies. Lego Batman movie. First Lego film I've ever seen. Only Lego film I've seen. But I had a blast watching this. It was hilarious. They reference pretty much every Batman movie known to man. And just parody the hell out of it, which I love. So I was pretty stoked. And it also has 4 animated shorts in the special features that are pretty funny. They're like 2.5 minute long, but they're pretty funny. But yeah, guys, I think that was a total of about 31 titles I picked up this time around. I may stop in to a couple more in like a week or so, just to see if there's any new restocks or anything, because it seems like they do it about 2 or 3 times a month now, in my area anyways. So we'll check it out and see if there's anything going on. But as always, guys, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment if you liked it, any of these, if you've seen any of these. What are you finding in your Dollar Trees? Curious to see. But thank you for stopping by, and hope you guys have a phenomenal day.